our time. It's my understanding that airfare was purchased by your client, and she can redeem credit by that. I'm requesting confirmation of my child's ticket and if this will be redeemed. Also, before I booked my travel, can you confirm that she even purchased a ticket as ordered by the court? Meaning that, she can use the ticket if she purchased it, and Gage and I could travel back together. And during this time, I also, in this email to Mr. Page, I have no idea where my child is at. I have not had the ability to converse or connect with my child. I have no knowledge of his safety, where he is located, again, during this pandemic. I have no knowledge of him even getting his educational needs met during this time. Okay? So there was communication. There was proof that I was trying to spend time with my son. I was offering to even fly or drive to Seattle. All I wanted was a confirmation that they would allow me to spend time with my son. They willfully chose not to even acknowledge your orders, Your Honor. Nor the fact that I was trying to see my son. There was essential time. Absolutely nowhere did any airport close by the President of the United States closed an airport. He didn't close it. He didn't say you can't go see your children. Children should be allowed to see their parents. The a la carte attorney, Mr. Page, and his client willfully withheld my son. They did not allow me the opportunity to even see him if I traveled to Seattle. And also, you ask about his school grades. If you also look at the exhibit 3, pages, if you look at his attendance records, DEF017 shows that he wasn't. There's 202 school days in a year. He's absent and tardy 80% of the time. And his GPA in the first semester is 1.33, a far cry from 2.0. So if you also look at his education, Your Honor, so the first exhibit, or the first thing you'll see in Exhibit 1, 6th grade, DEF001, this is in here for historical purposes. When I'm trying to communicate with Ms. Norcutt, when I'm asking, what are you going to do about our children's grades? How can I help? How are you going to handle this? The response that I get, excuse my French, go fuck yourself in the bed that you stole. Gage tells me he can hear you effing your girlfriend. Nice father of the year. Gage tells me he sees you in bed with another woman. You make him sleep on a sofa. Gage tells me lots of things about you too. Oh, and then she throws a little stab about Gavin. You can't do anything with Gavin without me. So again, Your Honor, she could to do anything at all proactive with Mrs. Norcutt around our child's education, she's estranged. She's so far gone, she's not even willing to talk about it. And as far as his shoes, also I submitted to the court. His shoes are the pair of shoes are a size 7 that was sent with him. I had to return to go buy shoes that fit him that are a size 8.5. Clearly, she has no, they don't remember that. But again, you asked me, Your Honor, tangible evidence is clear with all the exhibits that I provided. The analysis is right there in his reporting, his grade reports. If you look at, again, in Exhibit 2, Exhibit 2, 7th grade, DEF001 is his attendance record. Okay? This is the attendance record all the way through 7th grade. She can't even get him to school in 7th grade on time with over 70 tardies. 70 tardies. And there's only 202 school days in the year. So evidence is provided to the court. Month by month, I broke it down, DEF006. The calendar from his school. He's absent half of the time. He's tardy almost every single day. So when you ask about my child's best interests, that the only reason why that I'm filing this motion, and the only reason why I have not been able to uphold some of the child support that is ordered by the court is due to the misconduct of Ms. Norcutt. That's it. No other reason. Just due to her misconduct and the fact of unemployment and everything else took place. It's impossible to do anything with my son. He is in a toxic environment, and this court has also stated that the relocation was a mistake, Your Honor. Galvin is in college. Gage will see him the same time frame that he sees him now when he's on college break during the holidays. She's had 2 years, Your Honor, 2 years to focus on his education. She has failed to do so. Not only failed, she has made it nearly virtually impossible for me to be active in his life or participant. She's not upholding any part of the bargain or any part of the orders. She's mocking the court with fraudulent statements and fraudulent accusations. She withdrew $100,000 out of the checking account and took off to Seattle. And I submitted that evidence to the court. This is nothing about money. This is nothing about payback.
I looked at the attendance sheets. How many were unexcused? I mean, getting suspended was also an excuse, but how many were unexcused on all his absences?
Virtually almost all of them, until the fact of the matter, until Mrs. Norcutt called the school.
They said excused on defendant's own exhibit 1110, exhibit bait stamp number 9. Wait, I didn't count it, but every time it says excused. Court imposed.
7 days, 7.83 days were excused. Only 7 days.
Of what? The whole year? How many?
DEF 008. Yeah, that's it for the entire year. Is what's on the report.
008?
Days unexcused is 0. DEF 008. There were 7.83 days excused.
And 0 unexcused?
8.33 absent, days present, days possible.
Yeah. And there was a suspension.
It's a point, and if you look at DEF 009.
Okay, November 21st, 2018 was unexcused. That's one. There is a tardy unexcused on November 1st. Did you tally these up for the year?
Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. This transcript is also reflected on his grades in semester 1. He ended with an F in world history, a D in science, an F in computer science, a C in language arts. He gets an A in physical ed. Again, Your Honor, an A in physical ed, and then an F in math. Right? That's semester 1. And then also he finished the year.
I'll let you finish up because it's you're at your 10-minute mark.
Okay, Your Honor. Also, I included his math reports. From his math reports, he had numerous missing assignments, multiple issues. Also on DEF 013 is an email going back and forth with his art class during the time that COVID took place. And he hasn't participated in art class since school closed. Unfortunately, it's important that we get him on track. This is out of his art teacher. The point is, Your Honor, that you can clearly see he doesn't have his education first and foremost. Okay? He has an opportunity that will forever change his life, not only and the opportunities, but it's just the mere fact that this is a temporary change. And if he does any worse, or I don't see how he could do any worse, right? It's my right as his father to make sure that he has the best opportunities given to him. I can't even, she doesn't even put me on the school records. She's replaced his father with an aunt and a cousin.
Okay, yeah. You argued that already. You're at your 12-minute mark. Anything in rebuttal, Mr. Page? I don't know, your client wants to say something, so Any other?
What was it, Goldie? What is it you wanted to add?
I just sent you his email, or an email with his report card to finish the 7th grade. He had an A in art, and the rest were C minuses. He does have a 2-point-something grade average. And if you look at his attendance, the only tardies that he ever had in Skyrim, which is the reporting system that they have at the school, is he's tardy to class, not on us, not to school. It was not my responsibility. And we worked on his truancy because he would lollygag or go to the bathroom and not make it to class. It was not late to school or tardy to school. But, Fred, I have to I have to switch over. Do you have the email? Because it shows how many absences he has.
Yeah, I can see that. He doesn't have a huge number of absences. What he does have, and that makes sense, that he would be tardy from going from class to class, and that is consistent with the discipline issues that exist regardless of whether you're in Las Vegas or where you're Seattle. But he is getting better at it because his behavior is getting better. His grades are gradually getting better. He's becoming more mature, and he is starting to just do better overall as he gets away from the environment that he had with his father, Alex. And that's really
that's hearsay.
When he was around his father, who thinks he's going to be a D1 athlete, he just has him focus on school and things like that. Or focus on athletics and things like that. And now that he's with Mom and now he's with Gavin, he's slowly getting better because he's getting further and further away from the toxic environment that existed with Mr. Council. And that's also reflected in the Guardian ad litem report from Ms. Cooley.
All right, what has...
Oh, Your Honor, his GPA is on DEF 035. His cumulative GPA is 1.479.
Yeah, I saw that. I reviewed it. Okay. I don't, Mom has a competing document. Okay, I'm going to ask Mom, from elementary to junior high school, was the change, why the behavior issues? If Seattle was going to, make him happy, stay with his brother Gavin, stay with you, full time, why is he engaging in behavior problems if, he's there with you all the time? What's going on with that? Was there any intervention in terms of the school, counselor, school? I'm missing a lot of pieces of the puzzle here. So, and this wasn't, Dad's complaint is, it wasn't just 7th grade. It was 6th grade. And, he's like, how can we tolerate this? It's 2 years, not just one academic year, but 2 years and no changes in his behavior. But
he's actually doing better in Seattle than he was in Las Vegas. If you look back through the evidentiary record of this case, and I'm speaking for Goldie here, but she'll chime in when she wants to, and that is that he was doing terrible in Las Vegas to the point he had to redo a grade. Now, when he's in Seattle, he's actually doing better. It's not great, but he's doing better than he ever was in Las Vegas. His behavior is better in Seattle than it was in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, I could read through the reports from the teachers about how Gage behaved, and it was so bad it was almost comical. It doesn't exist now in Seattle. And, Mom, can you confirm that?
Dad said he didn't repeat a grade. He never repeated a grade. I don't know. Mom,
Goldie, what happened with the grade that did he repeat a grade?
In 5th grade, he failed the 5th grade. So when we moved from Nevada to Washington for the 6th grade, he was actually having, he was only tested in at the low of 5th grade level. But to answer your question of behavior issue, Gage has always, from childhood, small childhood, every daycare, every preschool, the child was just defiant, had defiant disorder. And when we moved to Washington, that was part of the big push. Was they have a special program. It's called Release the Brilliance, and he is plugged into that. And the Guardian ad litem has spoke to his 2 mentors here, and he is improving. And the school would tell you he's not even remotely the same child as he was in 6th grade when he arrived in Washington that he finished before the pandemic. I could get written statements from his deans and his counselors and even the principal. He's improving daily. And to speak to Gage, or speak to the achievements, if you look at Release the Brilliance, it's a selective process for children that struggle with authority but have strong leadership qualities. And it's amazing, and he's thriving. And they practice love and logics, parenting, and we practice that at home. And I had a few things to speak to as far as with contact with Gage. Gage has actually, we haven't submitted it yet, or Fred hasn't submitted it because we were waiting for the evidentiary hearing next year. But Gage actually had to create a Instagram account, and I have screenshots of him saying, "Dad won't let me call you. I had to contact you this way." The phone number that I gave the Guardian ad litem is a number where I screenshot Gage calling me because his dad wouldn't let him call me. I have tried to Skype Gage every night. It's documented on my phone. Every night I do not get to talk to him. I text every morning and call every night. The phone that I sent Gage and I provided, it doesn't happen. My only contact with Gage is when he's allowed to call me. A child would not go to the extreme of creating an Instagram account and saying those things. And when his dad found out about the Instagram account, he went in and deleted the messages that said that he wouldn't let my dad won't let me call you. I have screenshots of all of it. That's how I found out that Gage was even at the YMCA. And Fred can speak to this. Prior to Gage arriving in Nevada, we tried parallel parenting and co-parenting skills via email, and also in our family wizard, asking what Gage's itinerary was for, what was the intention. We got no response at all. And then also with Faith Lutheran, my name was on the enrollment, but none of my information. So he had told them that he had custody. He had showed them the old order and said that we had joint custody and that he was enrolling Gage. But there's a waiting list, so that's not even a possibility. And then I want to speak to Gavin's name change. A lot of artists changed their names. That was not out of rebuking his father or his name. That was just an artistic move, and he hasn't done it. Also, as far as the relationship with Gavin and Alex, he has not seen his dad or heard from him since he was 15, and not one reunification, therapy, nothing. And then we moved to Washington. The child graduated high school at a 2.4 grade average, and now he's in college and carries almost a 4.0. I have had complete parenting with Gavin, and he is a stellar human and a stellar student. So he's never had any behavior problems since he was 15, since he's been under my care. And if you look at that parallel, it just speaks for itself. I had one more thing also that I know about those emails. Those emails we already documented in the trial earlier this year that those emails did not come from my email address. Those are very old, and he's just cut and pasted something into current. That is not from me. I did not send.
They were 2017, and I remember you said that somebody hacked your email.
Yeah. there's nothing in our family wizard. And as far as him not being on the emergency contacts, he did not sign up for. Let me remind the court, he did not sign up. He didn't sign the order he agreed to. It was an agreement. He didn't sign the order. He didn't sign up for our family wizard. He didn't pay the child support. And then when he did take me back to court with Mr. Obamy, or whatever his name was, the attorney he hired, even then, at that moment, it had been from September to December or January. Alex or Mr. Counsel has never executed a 3-day visit with Gage since this whole thing started. I documented in our family wizard. I asked him, do you want to execute your 3-day weekends? Would you like to see Gage come up here and visit him? Visit his school. It's all documented in our family wizard. I get no response. In fact, most of the time he doesn't even read the message. And as far as the shoes go, I mean, anybody, he could take a photo of any shoe. There's no documentation. I do not abuse my child in any way. And as far as the ringworm, I will speak to that. It had a slight bump on his fold of his arm. When he left for Las Vegas, he did a sleepover with his friends the weekend before. They stayed up all night running in the woods and on the trampoline, and was around a whole bunch of kids before he could go to Vegas, because I sent him a week early so that his dad could make up his spring break. I didn't want him to miss his spring break. I just wanted him to be safe. And his dad messaged me and said, Gage has ringworm. And I said, well, take him to the doctor and document it. He waited 3 weeks before he took him to the doctor, and that's why it got so big. And Gage even said, Dad, I haven't been anywhere except for my friend's house, and maybe I got it there. And he knows, he lived with me for 20 years. My house is so clean you could lick it. So it's not neglect. And the hair thing, look at my attorney's hair. He hasn't cut his hair since that's pandemic hair. And it is the truth.
7 months.
7 months. And my hairdresser was not even working until right before I sent Gage to Dada. And he even said, Dad always takes me and gets my hair cut anyway. So there's nothing more than I would love to even be able to parallel parent with Mr. Counsel, but it's documented. It's just not, it has not, it's almost an impossibility. Because anything that I say, he seems to, I'll stop right there because, but I want the court to be documented that I have all the
tardies, absences, the behavior incidents at school. We talked about ringworm, haircut, shoes, clothes, Skype calls, the phone that you provided for Gage, and the Instagram account.
Yes.
And, yeah. We are going to meet up again on September 9th, so if you want to follow up with those Instagram screenshots and any other evidence to counter what he's arguing today, both of you may find supplemental exhibits, but try to put it all together in one set of exhibits instead of 6 at a time, Alex. So, and then bait scamp it, then I can access it. So on Odyssey. Mr. Page, you'll be doing that if mine needs to supplement something. All right, Mr. Counsel, I'm going to give you you get the last rebuttal since it's your motion. I'm going to give you the last 5 minutes here, and then we'll convene for the day, and then take it up again on the 9th with the GAL report. All right, let me see if I unmute you. You can unmute yourself. If I mute you, you know you can unmute yourself. But go ahead.
I didn't know how.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of how to do that, Your Honor. So,
yeah, by the way,
again,
you sent me a direct message. I didn't read it, but it's improper.
I'm sorry.
I just need to let Mr. know.
I didn't notice
that, so.
on top. Yeah, I didn't. Okay, so going back to all the statements made by Mrs. Norcutt.
Mr. Page, this is what he wrote. Please, Your Honor.
I see it. I'm looking here.
No, it's
He's
a
saying
direct.
never repeated grade. This is hearsay.
No. He sent me direct message, a one-sided
Yeah.
message. I said, don't do that. So he said, please, Your
I
Honor,
apologize.
this is not the case at all. She's making false statements. Please look at the exhibits. I mean, it's harmless, but I do need to let the attorney know and mom know. He
That's
tried
fine.
it.
I apologize.
It's no big deal, but I have to let everybody know that I tell them don't do it. So, we don't have one-sided conversations with the judge, obviously. So, you just to let you know, Mr. Page, it happens. So, they don't know the rules sometimes. All right. So, Mr. Counsel, you've got the last 5 minutes of rebuttal, and then we'll convene for the day. And then I'm going to direct both of you. You can file at any time before September 9th, your rebuttal exhibits, or anything you want to show me with the academics or faith. I think my question to you, Mr. Counsel, is I've got a trial with Faith Lutheran in a couple weeks. I'm well aware they got a really long wait list, and apparently parents scramble to get on that wait list, and then the current parents, if they don't pull their kids out of school, they're going to lose their spots already. So I know they're doing in-person classes there with unfortunately I know what's going on there because I'm having a trial on this, an Arcella trial in a couple of weeks. The kids, junior high is virtual and high school virtual. I think it's optional virtual, but the elementary kids are mandatory in person, or you lose your spot for next year. Your Faith Lutheran spot, enrollment spot. So if he's going to be in 8th or 9th grade, that's a virtual thing, and I think they are. I don't know if they're going virtual, if they're doing in person. I don't know the difference because the Faith Lutheran case I have, the kids are 9 and 8 years old, so they're mandatory attendance, and the parents are disagreeing about in person or COVID. Pull them out because of COVID and lose your spot. With junior high and high school, I don't know if it's optional, but I don't know if they're going all virtual on junior high. I'm assuming virtual because what if kids pick and choose last minute? I don't think they do. I think it would be virtual for Faith, so maybe it's possible they might have a opening for virtual there, but they do have fixed limitations on the number of enrollment. Yeah.
Your Honor, and absolutely they do. And it was done at the last minute, last hour, just due to the trial and the evidentiary hearing going on. As you see in the exhibits that I presented, that they waived a lot of his testing to even get into the school. And it wasn't until that Mrs. Norcutt called the school and made an issue with the school, because I never presented any packet or whatever. I told them the exact scenario. I told them what was going on, the current status, and the any way that we could get him into school, any way whatsoever. And he was on a waiting list after we talked about it, because you said you would hear about it. Well, in the meantime, they did have him on a wait list. They were going to bump him up, but until Mrs. Norcutt called me to stink, and they quickly just dismissed the matter and said that, 9th grade, he can get in. Midterm, we may have a spot, but, again, with the way it is, who knows right now. Game Changers has an opportunity for him, right?
What is this Game Changers? It's a charter school, private school?
It's a private school. Yeah, Game Changers is a private school based around different learning processes and athletics, right? And again, Your Honor, even with the benefit of the doubt, all right? Even with the remote benefit of the doubt, he has had 2 years in Seattle. It is the court's duty in his best interest. And if you clearly see in exhibits that I submitted, it would be spring break exhibits. The very first message out of Family Wizard is Miss Norcutt clearly stating, oh, by the way, there's no epidemic in Washington. Washington is just fine. There's no issues in Washington. But yet, if I try to travel to see my child because she refused to follow your orders, they still do not allow it.
That never happened.
This is the basis. It's right there, black and white, Your Honor. It's exhibit right here.
I see.
Never
Right
said I
here.
couldn't visit.
Okay, I see how you guys are arguing about the grades, but I want you to respond to this, Dad. Was your kid ever diagnosed with oppositional defiant disorder?
Never, no. Never ever was he diagnosed with that. Never once did he have any issues with that. He never really, she can't make claims that she's not a physician. She's not a doctor. She doesn't know what she's stating. She's trying to cover up the fact that she, never.
Did he fight
Never.
kids? He didn't fight
No.
kids in elementary school?
He never fought with any child at all in any other school. Now, did he not do his homework? Of course he didn't do his homework. Did he talk back to a teacher? Possibly, but he never had.
Yeah.
He never ever had a behavior report so long. And let me remind you, Your Honor, the reason why we're in this trial, why we're sitting here today, is because she cut off all contact for 8 months. 8 months while you allowed her to relocate, and he still misbehaved this way. He behaved this way because of the bond that was destroyed away of not his choice, but his mother's choice. She ripped the bond away and took everything away from the child. Now he's acting out.
Are you were aware of the Instagram account?
I'm sorry?
You're aware of the Instagram account? She says she's got.
I didn't have an issue with that. I told Gage that he needs to be talking through Skype, right? The judge said, hey, you should probably, if you're going to call your mom, call her through Skype. And he tried to call through Skype, and that's when Skype wasn't working any longer. So then I said, well, just call her from my phone and just, I don't care what time you call her. I just don't want your mother making an issue. Oh, Gage called me at 1 o'clock instead of 9. Gage called me at 3 o'clock. He can call any given point in time. I was trying to respect your orders, but he only contacts through Skype, right? Well, then I couldn't. I told him, hey, this is the only way you can do it until we get this matter resolved, because all the historical information that I had from Skype is locked up now because my Microsoft account was trying to get hacked into, right? And the fact that she's making claims, he can call anytime he wants to. He just doesn't want to, Your Honor. And the fact is that he finds video games, he probably would think too, right? Now, I'm not blaming everything on her, but the matter of fact is that he is escaping into non-reality, trying to not deal with life, right? The life that was given to him, and then it wasn't given to him in his best interest. So again, Your Honor, please recognize.
I want to hear about this Game Changers.
I haven't agreed school.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, you can Google it, and also there's another school. There's also another school by Slam Academy, right?
What's the name?
Again, Slam Academy.
Slam Academy.
It's in Henderson. Yeah, if you look at Game Changers Academy, they have an opportunity for him probably in the mid-year, because they're already starting this week, and they said if the judge approves it, we might be able to push him through. Everything depends on your decision today, Your Honor. And again, let me ask you one more question. If you look at his reports, if you look at everything, physical ed is his number one subject. I have screenshots and exhibits that I presented to the court on his athletic abilities. Again, why would a parent not allow a child that is so gifted, clearly gifted in an area, and not foster that and physically just alter that decision because that's what his dad wants to do? This case, clear-cut, is all about money, Your Honor. It's about money. It's about a vindictive vendetta. It is clearly not in the best interest of any child whatsoever. And in all due respect, Your Honor, all due respect, if you're laying your decision on the guardian ad litem, please remember that her inability to do a thorough discussion report was based on hearsay. She has skirted the issue and made false statements about domestic violence, that this domestic violence has never been proven in a court of law, nor do I have it on my record, or anything whatsoever.
I don't need you to
And we've already argued that.
educate me about the law because
I understand. I was just trying to point it out. Again, like she pointed out certain things.
So what is this? You got to listen to me, Alex. What is this Slam Academy?
Slam Academy is in Henderson, right? It's a charter school. It is a charter school with a different learning process from your stereotypical normal teaching
You guys
process.
get in through a lottery, don't you?
I'm sorry?
Don't you get in through lottery, or you just walk right in and sign up? How does this work?
Well, Your Honor, yes. Let me. Technically, there's no scholarships awarded on paper, but everybody knows, as you know, being in the industry, you've done this for 20 years. You know a shitter where you can spot one in a heartbeat, right? My son has been acknowledged by the top professionals in the world, and he has had the opportunity to succeed, right? And now, if you take that away from him, it's clear by his performance in school. He is depressed. He is not happy there. He has behavioral issues. That alone is grounds for restrictions on the mother.
You're not really listening. How do you get into? You said Game Changers was midpoint of the year. Now I asked you about how to get into Slam, if that's your plan.
Slam is a lottery, but also one of his coaches. Gage is well known in the Valley. People look after children that have special abilities, just like a young girl.
Are you just telling me you can do Slam anytime?
If you were to allow me to have the same opportunities with his education, I will get him into the very top school that is possibly at that given point in time. Yes, it's a lottery. His name is on the list. But again, I guarantee you that Mrs. Norcutt will call the school as soon as we hang up and prevent that. He has the opportunities there. You have to allow the child. This is the best interest of Gage. The court has orders that are in the best interest of the child. It's clear that his mother does not have the best interest of him at all whatsoever.
All right.
Not one bit. Not one bit. And yes, he is slotted, and I can get a letter from Faith Lutheran. He is guaranteed a slot in 9th grade, but right now he is on a waiting list.
And it's virtual.
But again,
is it virtual?
They're doing the 50-50, I believe.
Yeah.
High school, I think, nobody knows what the future is. Right now, the high school is virtual, absolutely, but I believe the middle school is doing 50-50. Half the week they're in person, half the week they're virtual. I believe that's the case. And the fact is that, with the benefit of the doubt, by his report cards, he's finishing with a grade average of 1.34.
All right.
He's never repeated a grade. Never repeated a grade.
You guys have always been on both ends of the spectrum here. What I may request from both of you, okay, obviously, is to file your supplemental exhibits. We've got a lot of credibility accusations, as usual. A lot of he said, she said. You want to make your laundry list and put it in writing based on what you heard in today's hearing, and you challenge the other parent's credibility, put it in a laundry list, and I'll review it before the next court hearing, and, back up what you're saying, that somebody was just, prevaricating, I guess is the word. So, I've got credibility issues. You can file a supplemental on that, and you've got supplemental exhibits on Game Changers or Slam or any other proposed school, maybe another confirmation from Faith Lutheran, and of course he doesn't need to provide his plan to go to the same school he went to last year, correct, Mom? He's still on track for September 9th. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're having our hearing on September 9th on the first day of school. It'll be at 3 o'clock on that day, and I will listen to the guardian ad litem. Now, it's not going to be the smoking gun, Mr. Counsel. I have to put everything together. Looking at all the exhibits you filed, Mr. Page, maybe we'll file another supplemental on these. It's not just Ellis versus Carucci. It is our Arcella choice of school issue, obviously, but Ellis versus Carucci is going to be the more focus, obviously, on that because the parents live in different states. So I'm really focusing more on Ellis versus Carucci, and then there'll still be an analysis on Arcella, obviously, on the best interest. So that's the plan, and it's 4:29. We are going to sign off because my court clerk is off the clock here, and we've got to shut down the courtroom. We'll see you guys on the 9th. Anything you file, I'll check a couple days before. And like I said, you're allowed 2 things. Supplemental. Let me put it in the chat box. You're allowed 2 things. You may file supplemental exhibits, and that's one. And then you may file a supplemental statement, okay, affidavit. All right, and address credibility. Okay. All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's all for today. All right, Ms. Clerk, let me know when we can sign off now, Ms. Clerk. We're done for the day. Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.